President Trump delivering a big blow today to President Obama's environmental legacy, signing executive orders to move forward with the stalled Keystone XL and Dakota Access pipelines. Former President Obama killed the proposed Keystone project in 2015 over climate change concerns. However, President Trump also signed an order requiring U.S.-financed pipelines to use steel produced right here in America when laying pipe. The president delivering on a major campaign promise, Made in America Still Matters. President Trump made restarting the pipelines one of his top priorities for his first 100 days, citing they could provide a lot of jobs for Americans. Both the Keystone and Dakota pipeline projects now advance for government approval. So, Dana, right away, day two, right? Day two, right? This is.
I know. I actually almost tweeted, it is only Tuesday.
And we have a bunch of initiatives, but that Keystone thing was a big Republican versus Democrat issue going forward.
And also because we talked about this show, we've been on air for almost 6 years, and so we've been talking about that pipeline for about that long. And the Democrats really strung people along for quite a while, saying that they had all these permits to review and they needed some more time, and EPA had a they don't do reviews concurrently, they were sequentially. So EPA would finish, then the State Department would do it. Then the EPA said they needed some more, and then the State Department. And Hillary Clinton was really using it as a way to hold off the unions from being mad at her, and she had to make a decision. Was she going to side with Tom Steyer and the climate wing of the party, or was she going to go with the workers? And ultimately, the climate change folks worked out. There was actually no, in my opinion, there was not good logical reasons for them to deny the Keystone Pipeline permit. And now today you saw Keystone Pipeline, the company saying that they will reapply. And one of the questions I had is, do they have to start over in the permit process? But it looks like they were able to pick up where they left off.
Right. I think the Trump administration said they're going to expedite the approval process. I'm sorry. TransCanada one, maybe about an hour ago, came out. They were thanking President Trump and saying that the pipeline would create thousands of well-paying jobs and add $3 billion to U.S. GDP. The Democrats got it like that, right?
You know what? I think environmentalists clearly have a complaint. But I would argue this, that, you know what? Go right ahead. Let's see what happens. To my mind, you know, digging up these oil sands, which are very difficult and very expensive and potentially damaging to the environment, especially drinking water, and a Republican governor, by the way, was the one who objected to this initially. We'll see what happens. But
not after it got rerouted.
But my key complaint is this. You guys say it's jobs.
Canada, though.
There are no big jobs. There's no big jobs, permanent job supply that's going to come from this. And I just think,
Trump cited 28,000 jobs. TransCanada, the owner of the pipeline, cites thousands of well-paying jobs. But the oil sands are in Canada. I mean, we're not dredging up oil sands.
No, that's what they're doing in Canada, and then you have to transport it through the United States, which is why it was considered such an environmental threat.
Greg, can I bring you in here? In just 2 days now, he's accomplished possibly more than former President Obama accomplished.
That's what happens when you don't play golf. No, here's the I want to address what I call the pipe lies, so I'm going to go on a little rant. Before the left freaks out about Keystone, there are 2.4 million miles of pipe in the United States, 72,000 crude oil lines. So they exist in America already. And remember how much safer it is to transport oil by pipeline rather than rail car. There are a lot of rail car accidents. And if you hate pipelines for oil, why aren't you protesting against indoor plumbing? Maybe you should start transporting your indoor sewage by Lionel trains from your bathroom to go right across your living room, out the door, carrying your little poo-poo, because that's more dangerous. And I want to talk about the Dakota pipeline because you're talking about it being harmful. It's entirely underground. It doesn't cross any land owned by the Standing Rock tribe. It doesn't endanger water because they're planning on moving the water inlet 70 miles from the pipeline, so it's perfectly safe. Trains are transporting oil owned by the tribe, the Standing Rock Reservation, so they don't mind. There are already eight pipelines underneath Lake Ohi. Is that what it's called?
Sure.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers have met with these tribes, 55 tribes, about 600 times, or 400 times. So anyway, it's not about the tribes. It's not about the oil. It's about activists who are using this as a way to go after fossil fuels.
Let me throw it to Lisa. I love this initiative that if the U.S. is paying for this pipeline, you got to use U.S. steel. It has to be produced right here in America.
Well, absolutely. I like it as well, and it's consistent with things that Donald Trump said during the general election. But to Juan's point, Hillary Clinton's own State Department, the Keystone Pipeline was one of the most heavily reviewed pipelines in history, and Hillary Clinton's own State Department said that there would be minimal impact on the environment. But what I think more broadly this is the fact that President Obama's days of hamstringing the economy in the name of left-wing environmentalists is over. You look at numerous ways where President Obama, essentially put these roadblocks in the way of both energy exploration as well as job creation, whether it's using the Clean Power Plan to try to shut down the coal industry, whether it's roping off federal lands to energy development, shutting down the pipelines as well, which we know that would create jobs, produce energy as well in the country. Those days are over, as President Trump alluded to when he was running for president.
All right, let's do this. Also today, the president met with CEOs of the three big auto companies, Ford, GM, and Fiat Chrysler. He told them he'll curtail unnecessarily onerous environmental regulations and make it easier for them to build plants in the U.S.
We're bringing manufacturing back to the United States big league. We're reducing taxes very substantially, and we're reducing unnecessary regulations. And we want regulations, but we want real regulations that mean something. And we're going to make the process much more simple for the auto companies and for everybody else that wants to do business in the United States. I think you're going to find us to be from very inhospitable to extremely hospitable. I think we'll go down as one of the most friendly countries, and right now it's not.
The automakers expressed optimism after the meeting.
We're excited about working together with the president and his administration on tax policies, on regulation, and on trade to really create a renaissance in American manufacturing.
There's a huge opportunity, working together as an industry with government that we can do and improve the environment, improve safety, and improve the jobs creation and the competitiveness of manufacturing.
So, Greg, here's, I think you and I both agree. I'll agree with you on this. I hate the idea of an import fee, a border fee, a border tax. I just don't like that, and I know that's part of the Trump plan to keep the jobs here. Here's a different way of going about it. Reduce regulations, make it cheaper for them to produce here.
Yeah, that's why there's some positive and negatives. Tax relief, deregulation, hooray. Tariffs, boo. Only the rich can afford tariffs. That hurts the poor. Protectionism is not capitalism. I think and also it does nothing about automation. And I think that's, he's moving quickly, and I hope he could, I hate to say it, save humanity, because in the future, automation is going to turn this country into a crazy world of joblessness, and they got to figure that thing out. You're going to have a vast population of starving, unemployed millions, and I mean, talk about a dystopia. So that's something you really got to think about for the next 10, 20, or 30 years, and he could do it.
So let me just ask you guys, do you really believe that all those executives, just like the union guys who were in yesterday, come out and they say all these nice things about Trump, that this is going to transform the American economy, or do you think you're witnessing Stockholm Syndrome? These people come out, having been held hostage by the giant new president and his Twitter feed.
He's promising to reduce costly regulation and let these companies have more of their own money. That's not Stockholm. Gee, that's a payday.
I wonder
that's Christmas every day for business.
Who saved the American auto industry. Thanks, Obama. Oh, my goodness. You mean the American auto industry was not doing well? Oh, no, the American auto industry right now is doing very well. What they're fearing is that they're going to be
Obama
attacked
didn't save
by
the American
President
auto
Trump.
industry. The American taxpayer saved the American auto industry.
Thank you.
Only to put them out of business unless Trump I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, we have record auto sales. Have you noticed that?
And let me talk about one of the regulations that I think that those executives are counting on to be changed, and that is the CAFE standards. This is the fuel mileage per gallon. I haven't driven in 7 years, can you tell? But anyway, those are regulations that, because of just the way technology is in physics, in order to meet those that quota, you actually have to make cars lighter. And when the CEO of GM was talking there about safety, she's talking about the importance of making sure that our cars are going to be safe enough. To your point on automation, every single one of those CEOs has a driverless car technology plan. So that's that kind of innovation is not going to be stopped. I don't know how he's going to save innovation from that. Like, that is actually going to happen.
And Lisa, I will contend the only way to save the U.S. auto industry is by reducing their burdensome regulations and costs to produce a car here in America.
But I mean,
or how's this? reduce their burdens and costs of producing car in Detroit versus Tennessee?
Well, it's not just the auto industry. Look, removing some of these regulations is just going to help businesses across America. You look, for the first time in our nation's history, we have more small businesses going under than being created under President Obama. You look at regulation after regulation, whether it's something like Obamacare, whether it's the overtime rules that President Obama put in place that are hamstringing businesses, making it difficult for them to survive and thrive in this economy. And I think it's ultimately going to benefit everyone across the board by removing some of these burdensome regulations in the way of job growth. And I really think this is what Donald Trump talked about the entire election, with helping the working class families, helping working class Americans, and getting the economy moving again. And I think so far he's delivering on that.
Well, is it helping the working class, Lisa, or is it helping the titans of industry and helping the big boys on Wall Street at the expense of the working class who have to breathe the air, who have to deal with
Do the unions represent the working class, yes or no?
Of course they do.
And they walked out of that meeting, not only said, hey, this is great, they went out of their way to say this is fantastic. It was, I can't remember the adjective they've used, but they went out of their way to make it seem like it was a magnificent meeting with Trump.
How does it help working class Americans to shut down businesses across the country? Then there are no jobs. It's the same concept with increasing the minimum wage to something ridiculous like $15
with 4%
an hour.
unemployment.
No,
but
if you're shutting down businesses, you're shutting down opportunity in this country. It's a no-brainer.
I have no objection to more jobs, even on top of the fact that we're almost at a full employment economy. But I will say this. You got to breathe the air. You want some regulation. You want to make sure you do away with unnecessary regulation.
We have plenty of
you got to go.
laws on the books.
Got to go.